Welcome back to the most important podcast in the world. I'm your host, Reese Wood, and welcome to Most Important Moment number 5 or 6, or we're getting in there. We're getting into some episodes, but we're going to talk about the last couple ones we did. Interview I did with my brother, Tony Wood, and also Matt Nemetz of Focal Fuse and Boppr. But holding my notes here because I'm scrambling on this one. I got a couple interviews coming up. Tomorrow we're going to record a couple, so there are more episodes on the way. I did take a couple weeks off. I do that sometimes. We'll take a couple weeks and then get back to them. What have I been doing in the last couple weeks? I got back to hunting, something I haven't done in like 20 years. I actually hit up my other little brother, Elijah Wood, and he is something of a hunting and fishing guru. But I had to ask him, I said, hey, it's been quite some time. Could we get out and do some target practice shooting? And so he got out there with me. We went and practiced some bow and crossbow shooting, which is awesome. If you've never done it, definitely worth trying, definitely worth looking into. So I'm getting back into hunting, trying to do something I haven't done in, like I said, probably about 20 years. But the episode with Tony Wood, my brother, we went on a hike, and you guys know how that goes. It's we went to a tree fort that we built about, I've got to say about 20 years ago, in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, and undisclosed location. But Tony, we didn't ask too many questions. I just wanted to ease his way into podcasting. Like I said, I'm an easy guy to do a podcast with. If you need to, come on, we'll do an introductory episode. We can do something, anything. Podcasting, it's endless opportunities to communicate. But we eased Tony into the podcasting world with the hike to our tree fort. We're going to have him back because Tony does all kinds of stuff. He likes working on cars. I don't know if he likes it, but he does it. He loves animals. He's an animal enthusiast. And on top of that, the biggest side note, the biggest asterisk on his resume is he was once the one-time bass player for my band in high school, what was it?
2 hours later.
Space Gnomes with Lasers from the Revolution of 2093. Try to forget that one. Good luck. But yep, Tony has always been there by my side to help me with all kinds of stuff. And like I said, he had a birthday, and I said, let's take him somewhere that he hasn't been in a long time. Try to reminisce about some things. And it was fun, definitely. And we're going to have him back on to talk about other stuff. Matt Nemetz of Focal Fuse and Boppr. If you haven't checked it out, and I know a lot of you did, I sent that invite out to follow Focal Fuse. Focal Fuse with graphic design and branding and image branding, creative design of all kinds. Matt is a one-man army when it comes to graphic design and all those things that you need for your business, for people to find out about you and to see you, to actually leave a lasting impression. And like I said, I've had Matt do a couple projects for me, always worth hitting them up for it because there's always great results. But I wanted to talk about Boppr specifically. What he's doing with Boppr is cutting edge. If you're a social media person, a podcaster, just somebody who wants to share your social media links, maybe you have a business and you want to get a menu out there with a new piece of technology that, you don't want to go with the old paper menus. And you're looking for an alternative. Boppr, definitely check it out. I did just pick up one of the little Boppr devices. I have one on the way. So basically, if you walk up to me and I have one of these devices, I can connect with your device, send all of my locations for social media, web location, and it's super convenient. I don't have to sit there and spell it out for you. Even though I don't mind doing that, who doesn't, right? www.w, whatever the website is, right? It's a long thing to do. Plus, Paper business cards, they're still a thing. People do those, but as we found out with Matt, the price isn't convenient. It's a price to pay. But with Boppr, obviously, one-time cost. There you go. Before we go, like I said, we got a couple interviews coming up, but there's been so much happening in the news with Israel, Palestine, Hamas, and I did an episode, The Last Most Important Moment, a couple episodes back, and we shared how Canada recognized a Nazi for some kind of award, and I said, specifically, let's see how long it takes for us to move on from this. I'm wondering the same thing about this, and that's not to minimize what's going on. I don't know who would do that. But I am wondering, just like I do with a lot of stuff, when's the next news-worthy item going to come and sweep away last week's news? And so watch the clocks, watch the calendar, whatever you got to do. See when that changes. Obviously, it's a serious situation and differing opinions of all kinds. It's a situation where a lot of details are still unclear. And for me personally, when things like this happen, you won't see me on Facebook or on social media of any kind trying to say a lot because in my running for office, in my just being on social media, I have learned you can say things too quick in response. Sometimes you need to give things a week, a couple days, a month, and think about it and assess the situation if you can. You can't always do that. Obviously, in this situation, there are people who cannot afford to do that. But I'm going to wrap up talking about one of my favorite bands in the world, the Beatles, the new track, Now and Then. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. But I'm one of these people that I'm interested to know how much of it was Paul McCartney pushing it. I'm a huge George Harrison fan. Also, I mean, who doesn't know about the Beatles? A lot of people, I do have friends who say, Beatles make me cringe, Reese. But other people, obviously, there's both perspectives when it comes to that band. The interesting facts about this track is that it does seem to be really pushed by Paul. Ringo showing up in a jogging suit for the video. They used AI on it. They even, I believe, made an AI George Harrison solo, even though I believe some of the tracks from the Jeff Lynne sessions in the 90s were still available. I'm wondering, George didn't support this track going out originally back in the 90s when they did 3 tracks, Real Love, Free as a Bird, and this one, Now and Then. George said at the time, Now and Then just was a no-go, just didn't support it, wasn't fully a release-worthy track. But the other 2 tracks, amazing. You listen to them, you hear Jeff Lynne's production, you hear Beatles. But the new track, interested to know how many people feel that it is a Paul-dominated track. Is it just a good tribute to John? Because obviously John produced the track originally. So interesting stuff. Obviously, as a Beatles fan, anything put out is great, right? But let me know. Comment below. Comment about anything about my brother and his... don't comment about him. Let me comment about whatever you want, guys.
2 hours later.
See you on the next episode.